Hello, I'm Sophia.
And hey, I'm Kristin, and we are
Under the Barbell.
Over the Bullshit.
And we're a podcast for women who are sick of being told to just eat less, move more, and what they really want is to get strong, take up space, feel confident, and age well.
That's what we're all about, empowering women to live for more than a before and after photo.
So, wherever you are, grab a coffee or a pre-workout and hit play, because your anti-diet culture BFFs have arrived. What up, you
Hey, you bobbers.
Hello. How's it going?
Did
I know, I was
it.
like, I gotta do it now. Oh my gosh, what's up? Happy snowfall, like first, maybe not first, but it's snowing outside right now.
Oh, yeah, no, not here.
Here in South
It's
Dakota.
Not in Nashville. It's sunny. It's chilly, though. It's definitely cold, but yeah, we don't, our snows, when it does snow here, it's usually not until like January and maybe even February. Like since we've lived here,
Holy
we've had a
shit.
lot of big February storms, and we normally only get like one a year. If that. There's been a couple years we didn't get any. One of my clients is up in Ohio. We're both from the Northeast Ohio area, and so but we met here. Like, we didn't know each other when we were there, but she's up there because she went up for Thanksgiving with her family and whatever, and so she sent me a picture and she said Thanksgiving in Northeast Ohio, and they have, at the time, that was way earlier this morning, they had 5 inches and it was still coming down. And I said, well, what are they expecting? And she said 6 to 12. I'm like, that's a big range. I feel like usually it's like a 3-inch range.
Yeah.
6 to 12 inches is a big range, but I guess it depends on exactly where you are, because as you get up closer to like Lake Erie and whatever, you know, the lake effect, snow and stuff, it gets a lot more. So yeah, they got lots of snow back where I'm from in Ohio, but not here.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to snow today, tomorrow, and maybe even Sunday. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be straight. But it's a pretty snow right now. It's like,
is it supposed to be a lot or just like?
I don't even know. I don't think like a lot, but I don't know. I haven't really looked at it a whole lot, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the worst is I just hate driving in it, and like when it gets to be, if it snows, then it freezes over it the next day, and I just when I'm driving and then you start to slide, like that is, I hate it. I hate it.
It's terrifying.
I'm just yeah.
It's awful. It's awful. I don't miss that, actually. That's one of the, like, when I left Ohio, I went to Vegas for 11 years, and now I've been here for about 11 and a half years, and I have no interest in going anywhere where it's going to snow any kind of consistently at all. None at all. I don't miss it. It's pretty to see through someone else's pictures. Like, I don't want to live it.
Yeah. I always say, like, I want the pretty snow. I want snow on like Christmas Eve and Christmas. But if I don't have it any other time, totally fine with that.
Yeah, my son has never had a Christmas snow because he's only ever lived in Vegas and here. However, in 2020, Christmas Eve, it did snow Christmas Eve on 2020 that night. And we have pictures out where, like, I was able to write it wasn't a lot, but it was enough that I was able to, like, write with my finger in our windshield. It just says, like, Christmas 2020. And so it was like, oh, it was so exciting. And then we were like, 2020 was such a shit show and whatever. And like, oh, this is like one nice thing 2020 gave us. And then the very next morning at something crazy, like 8 or 8:30, there was the Nashville bombing downtown that, like, we felt it here, and it knocked out all of our, we didn't have internet because we have AT&T, and he bombed by the AT&T building. And so we didn't have, like, internet, TV, all of our shit's through AT&T for days. I'm hearing, do you hear me? Like, do you hear me twice? Oh my God. No. I'm like,
I fucking hate that. That's the worst. Like, I can't talk when that's happening.
It stopped too. It just stopped doing it. Okay, good. Sorry. But yeah, so it was the AT&T building where he set off his car bomb, and so we had to go to our gym where we were members at the time just to get on Wi-Fi to be able to even contact our family and let them know what was going on. Like, we had no way of communicating with anyone at all.
Holy shit. I don't think I remember that, actually.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were like, come on, man. But it was, that was Christmas morning, 2020. I was actually on the phone with my brother, and like we heard it, felt it, whatever, and then everything just went dead, and I was like, hello, what the hell? And we didn't know what was going on, and so we because we had no our Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi, TV, all that's through AT&T, and then also just our cell phones through AT&T. So we didn't even have like cell phone service. We couldn't call. We couldn't. There was no what you call it, like signal to get on the internet,
Yeah.
like nothing. We could do nothing. And so
Oh,
we
yeah.
went and we were able, because we have iPhones, we were able to use the Wi-Fi at the gym and send iMessages only to other people who had iPhones.
Oh my
We couldn't
God,
send to
yeah.
anybody. Of course, my brother was Android, but thankfully my niece is an iPhone person, so I was able to message her and have her help get the message out. It was just
Oh my
crazy. It was great. So I'm like,
God.
2020 gives us this beautiful snow on Christmas Eve, and then it blows up Nashville.
Bombing. Jesus. Oh my God.
Oh, it was a shit show. Anyway.
So I have to give a shout out to I texted you about this. No idea if this person if like this person listens now, or if he just listened to a little bit, or if he's consistently listening. But we were at our gym working out, Los Campeones, shout out. And I'm doing my own thing, and Kiana is like somewhere else working out, and she texts me and she's like, I think something about like this dude in here has your sticker, like your U-Bob sticker, under the barbell with bullshit. And I was like, oh my God, why? I come see. And so right when I saw that message though, I looked up because she said he possibly had a pink shirt on. And so when I look up, he's actually coming around the corner. And so I saw his pink shirt, and I was like walking, because I had already started walking to go meet with Kiana and see. And I saw his water bottle, and he set it on the table, and it like just turned just enough for me to see the sticker. And I was like, oh shit, yeah. So like shout out, no idea who this person
Love
is,
it.
don't know your name, but if you're listening,
Love
shout out to
it.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And actually when I
Yeah.
brought the stickers there, yeah, when I brought them to the gym, they were all like, people took them, they're all gone. Maybe I'll set
Oh,
I still have some, so I should maybe set some out again. But
I
yeah,
have a
they
bunch
all
still
got,
too.
yeah, I know. So I was like,
Love
oh, that's kind of cute.
it. That is
Yeah.
very cool. That is very
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
I love to see it. That's so
I know.
fun. Shout out whoever you are.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
the support. Speaking of support, wherever you're listening, if you could go ahead and drop us a little 5-star rating. Maybe if you're
Please.
on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review, like type out a review. Should I pull one up? We haven't read a review in a while. I don't know how
Yeah,
quick I can be with it, um,
let's do it.
but yeah, we haven't read
Honestly though,
one
it
in a
would
hot minute.
mean like, it's something that when I know I've said this before, but whenever I go to look at podcasts, I literally go look at reviews
I do
just
too.
to see what people are saying. Yeah. And so it helps not only that aspect when someone is coming, but also it's kind of, I don't know, validating, reaffirming that what we're sharing is helpful. And even when you're
Yes.
specific about it too, like it's so easy to just not do it, right? And it's just like whatever thing, especially because like what are you listening, if you going and reviewing it, it's not going to benefit you, right? But like it's it's something that, how do I say this? I don't know. It's, even though it doesn't benefit you in the moment,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I don't know either.
It doesn't
Is
benefit
it
you, but please, it
is
benefits
it
us, so just do it,
it
please.
does. Is it maybe like it's one of those things like where people talk about how giving, like when you give to charities or something, it makes you feel you know what I mean? Like you're
Yes,
not
I was gonna go there. Yeah.
benefiting from it. So like that's our charity reviews.
I'm not even gonna
It'll
cut this
make
out.
you feel good to know that you're supporting us.
Yeah, and just being a part of this community in the beginning, the
Yes.
stages of this, like who knows where this is gonna
Yes.
go. So
Yeah.
just to be a part of that, if you, especially if you've been listening like consistently for a little bit, yeah. So it
Yeah.
might not benefit
It's
you other than it'll feel good, but
no, but it truly is so helpful. Okay, so here
so
is I don't 100% remember which ones I've already read, but I don't think I have read this one. And it's nice and short and quick. This one's from Jenna. It says, I feel like
Jenna,
they
shout out to Jenna.
shout out
That's my friend.
Jenna. I feel like they get raw and real, speaking about things that everyone goes through but doesn't actually talk about. Love them. So we love you too, Jenna. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, simple, super simple, short, quick.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Doesn't have to be
That's it.
much. Just,
Yeah.
real quick to the point is always so helpful. And if you're on other, whether, you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever else, I don't think you can actually type reviews, but you can leave, thumbs ups and stars and all the
Comment,
things, all of
subscribe.
that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Subscribe as well. Following and subscribing is always also really helpful for us. So
Yep. Yep.
anyway, that's that.
Also, I need to throw out there 6 words. I think it's 6.
She's counting.
It is. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh shit.
Y'all,
So
the drama. I love it. The only reason we started watching it was because of Dancing with the Stars, which shout out to Robert. I voted for him. So happy. Alex's dance was a smoke show. It was hot, and she did really good. She's a dancer. But Robert, like, man, he's just a kind soul. And the fact that his sister won it like 11 years ago, whenever that was, so cool. He was a really good dancer. Like, it's just amazing, the partnership with Whitney. But the only reason we started watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was because Whitney and Jen were both on the show, and they're in that reality show. So eventually we started watching it, and the drama, so good.
I can't. So a couple of my friends, sort of readjusting myself here. A couple of my friends, hold on, my screen just like turned off. I don't know what just happened. Like, where I keep my no signal. What do you mean no? Oh, it's back. It's back. I must have bumped something when I adjusted myself. So.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, okay, it's back. We're fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Anyway, okay. So a couple of my friends wanted, like, when that show started coming out, they were advertising it and whatnot, and they were all excited. They were like, "Oh, we need to watch it." And I said, "I can't." Like that. I don't mind trash TV at all. Like, I have my own versions of trash TV.
Yeah.
I just cannot, like, some of that, it just gets to be so much for me where I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't. And sometimes a lot of those shows, I have weird, I think I might have talked about this in other episodes before, but I have really weird issues with secondhand embarrassment. Have I talked about this?
Oh yeah, you said that before.
Yeah, and like sometimes on some of those specific reality shows, like The Housewives, all those ones, like the stuff that they're doing is so like, what's wrong with you, that I can't watch. Like, I'm mortified that you're doing this on television, and I can't do it.
Yeah. But also, like, I will say that, like, it does seem like they're being themselves, and they're also have been kind of, I think, instrumental in, what's the word? Like, it's taboo in Mormon, like, culture in the church to, like, there's so much things with it, and they have a lot of things that they don't agree with, like, with the beliefs. So I think if I were Mormon, I would be like, this is super cool. Like, these chicks who are kind of stepping out of the system, out of, their, kind of paving the way for a new belief system almost, which I do think that's kind of cool in that aspect, which is not that's a super small aspect. Like, that's super small aspect of what they're the other shit that's going on. But
I might argue that actually most Mormon people are probably not very impressed by that. They're probably not.
What do you mean?
They tend to be pretty firm in their beliefs, and when there's
100%.
When people are doing things outside of the
but I think there's a lot of people like these women on there who are younger, like they're like 25 to 30, 33. I mean, it's definitely not just them. Like, there's so many others, I'm sure, that are. But there's a lot of people that are
like, we're from Vegas, so many, many, many Mormon friends, and I can't think of any of them that would be happy.
No, I'm sure there's more people not like them than are, but I still think it's cool. Like, me wanting to, like, also step out of, like, just being different in certain ways and beliefs, and so it's like, I totally think that there's more people that are against that than for it, but still I think it's kind of cool.
Like, me personally, I'm here for it, but I'm not Mormon, so I can't, you know what I mean? Like, but I would imagine that some of their, the elders or whatever, I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the right terminology for it, but like
Yeah.
the other people in the church, they're probably getting a lot of pushback, I bet. I
Oh,
don't
I'm sure,
know.
especially in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. And now it's not, oh shit. Okay, you froze for a second. But yeah, and now it's less of that. Like it's more just about their lives and there's like scandals and cheating and like all of
Yeah,
this
well,
stuff. So
that's actually the stuff that I was like, "Ooh, that's not gonna go over very
yeah.
well in the community at all," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
some
No, they
yeah,
talk about that too. Yeah.
which
Ugh,
is
but I
yeah,
love it. I'm here for that
interesting.
drama. So
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. We I need to shout out before I forget my powerlifting team, my girl
Yes.
gang.
Congrats to you
So
guys.
a couple weeks ago, or I guess now it's probably been maybe 3 weeks ago, they competed in a meet here in Tennessee, and it was the first. So there have not been many meets available in Tennessee at all. Like there's been just a lot of issues with federations and things. I'm not even going to bother getting into it, but there's not been a lot of meets available that we've been able to do locally without having to travel very far, which is why I'm going to Florida for my meet next week. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so we finally got one that was kind of local-ish to us. It was about an hour drive, so it wasn't too bad. And so we, they prepped our meet prep is 13 weeks. And so they went through like 13-week prep and then they competed. 4 of them were brand new, never competed before. 2 were experienced. I'm trying to think how many. I think this might have been their 3rd or their 4th, I think, for the other 2. But they did great. Everybody got either a new personal record, at least one, if not more than one, or they broke a Tennessee state records. So we had, I forget exactly how many it is now off the top of my head, but we had something like 11, 12, 13 something state records. And then,
Damn.
it was
Nice.
a pretty great
That's
day.
pretty fucking awesome.
And everybody, like, as a coach, for me, like, my main goal is always, especially the brand new ones, like, I just want them to have a really good experience. Like, whatever weight ends up being on the bar, I'm not that concerned about. I just want them to like feel good and to feel confident and to want to continue. Like as a coach, you want people to
Yeah.
continue in the sport that you love. And so
Yep.
that's sort of always my main thing. So after meets are over, I always tell everybody like go ahead and process because there's a lot you prep for so long for something and then it just happens and then like there's this thing that's called they call it post meet blues where a lot of people like once that week after once the meet is done people like kind of struggle like what do I even do with myself now or whatever. I'm like all right,
Yeah.
so all you like let's get through, everyone's riding high right now because we did great, but once it's over let's talk about how everybody's feeling, and all of them want to continue on with powerlifting. Nobody was like fuck this. So
I'm
that's a
done.
good
Yeah.
that's a good sign.
Good.
So yeah, so they don't have another one planned yet. We definitely want to get through the holidays and the new year, and then we'll look in the spring probably for another one for them. But just wanted to shout them
That's
out
awesome.
because they did awesome. It was a great day, and yeah, that's that.
Hell yeah. Congrats. That's pretty cool.
Thanks. It
And
was
to have
very
so
cool.
many like new people, like I mean, I feel like for a team, like that's a lot to have that many new people and then also the
Hmm.
state records. Like I feel like
Yeah,
that's I haven't been to many,
yeah.
but I think that's a lot, it seems like.
Yeah, and some of them though, in fairness, some of the records were just there was no record before. That person was the first in
Oh, but
Tennessee
still they
in
set
her
that
weight to do
record.
yeah,
Hell
but she set the record. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so very cool.
That's cool.
It was pretty rad. It was a fun day. And that was the first time for me that I have been at a meet or like that close into powerlifting since the cancer diagnosis and all of that. So I'm kind of glad that the timing of it all happened the way it did because it kind of got me
Yeah.
back into it and like into how exciting it is and what it feels like. And it's made me a little more excited for my meet next week because I've been a
Ooh, yes,
little
and yours next week.
next week. Yeah, man. So like 1 week from today, I will have already done weigh-ins and everything else. Yeah. And then it's on Saturday. So
How you feeling?
that's the problem. Everyone's asked me like, are you excited? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I am.
Yeah.
I'm, I think I'm just more concerned, I guess, is that's the right word that I want to use. I I've never been a person that really cries very much. I just don't until cancer. Now fucking everything makes me cry. And I every time I hit a new PR, I freaking cry. Or like it's always. And so I was like, I cannot cry through a whole meet. That's just not a thing we can do, you know? And it's, people are like, oh, it's fine if you do. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not worried about how I'll look or what other people think. I'm concerned, like, that's exhausting. To cry a lot
Yeah.
is exhausting. And I need to get through this meet,
Yeah.
not being completely exhausted by the time we get to you know what I mean?
It's true.
So
Yeah.
I've been a little bit concerned about how I just don't want to like totally lose my shit on the platform every single time I go up there. And I was like, maybe like with adrenaline and whatever, maybe that won't all hit me until the end, which would be great. Cause
Yeah.
at the end, I don't mind at all like losing my shit. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's very emotional to think about just doing it again, or the fact that
Yeah.
I can do it again. Like it's just a very there was a point where I didn't know if this would ever be a thing I could do again. And so yeah, there's so much tied to it being the first one back.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's like I just want to get through it, and I just want to uh I guess kind of like I said about my team, like I just want to be a good experience.
Yeah.
um I'm trying hard to not put too much pressure on myself as far as the weight goes, but at the same time I'm a competitor and that's what I do. So I'm trying to just keep it realistic, because what if maybe I am going to be super emotional and all that, and I don't want to set myself up for failure or disappointment. So I'm trying to be very real about what weight I'm actually going to do on each squat, bench, and deadlift, because I don't know, like all the emotions, whatever, might get the best of me, and I might not perform as well as like I can when I'm doing it in my garage. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I'm trying to not put that pressure on myself, but at the same time, I don't know how to not put that pressure on myself. So
Yeah.
what I'm doing, I'll meet with my coach next week and talk about our specific numbers. But I think what I'm going to do is my openers are going to be very, very, very low, like way lower than necessary, just to make sure that we're good. Because
Yeah.
with
That's a good idea.
powerlifting, I don't know, I think you probably know this, but I don't, maybe listeners don't. With powerlifting, you squat, bench, and you deadlift. You get 3 attempts, and you're being judged, so you have to execute each attempt in a very specific way. And if you don't, then they give you red lights. So there's 3 judges. You need to get at least 2 out of 3 white lights for it to be a good lift. If you get 2 or 3 red lights, it's not a good lift. And so if you don't, like, say I go into squats and I choose a weight that's too heavy on my opener because I'm whatever, maybe I'm crying, maybe I'm doing who knows what, and I don't get it, then I'd have to do it again for the second. Oh, I could go up more weight if I want to, or you can stay the same, you do it again. If you don't get it, or maybe you don't get down deep enough or whatever, if all 3 lifts go by and you don't get one of them as a good lift, you're out of the meet completely. So it's like when you pick your openers anytime, not just with what I'm doing, but anytime you want to pick an opener that's like an absolute gimme weight, like that for sure you can execute it to the proper standards and whatever. Otherwise, that way you get it. And if you, what was that?
My mic fell. So like as I was getting my blanket like back up on my shoulders, it like got caught on the cord and then it fell forward. I was like, oh shit. I tried to be quiet as you were talking.
The look on your face was great. I couldn't help myself. I was like attempting to keep talking, but I'm like, I can't. That was so funny.
Oh, I have to go back and watch that.
So good. You like your eyes were like, whoa. Anyway, so you always want to just pick a really easy weight that you can do as an opener, to make sure if you can just get that first one, then you can like really push the weight on the others, because at least if you don't get the others, you don't get kicked out of the whole meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's
so
smart.
We're gonna go even lower than we normally would, just to make sure that I'm good to go, and then I can just take bigger jumps to try and like increase and potentially PR or whatever.
This is very relatable to what we're talking about, and it's very relatable to whenever we talk about setting goals for the first time. It's like making it something that you for sure can achieve, and it's not just realistic, but you're lowering the expectations, making it easier for you to attain before you go into a season of like amping it up and leveling up that goal.
Look at this. Not even on purpose either. Look at the connections.
Yeah, so before we get into
So,
that,
yeah.
shirt of the day. Shirt
Oh,
of
shirt of the
the
day. I'm
day.
glad you remember because I always forget
Oh
shirt
yeah,
of the
I
day.
always remember.
And this is a short and sweet one. It just says, women don't owe you shit.
That's right.
And
That's
where
right.
this came from, actually, I mean, I've had it forever, but why I chose to wear this one today, what it made me think of was actually you and I, before we started recording, we were talking about Stranger Things. And it made me think of, I don't know if you saw Millie Bobby Brown on the red carpet. I think it was when this newest season was premiering or whatever.
Yes, I know what you're talking
And
about.
she was on the red carpet. She's all done up in all her dress and she's, doing whatever poses. And some man, of course, because it always is, says, smile. And she just turned and looked at him and she goes, why don't you smile? And she just stormed off. And I was like, yes,
why don't you smile?
queen. Thank you.
Yes.
We don't owe you a smile. Yes.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
So that's what it made me when I saw that when I was going through my shirts to see what to wear today. I saw this one and it reminded me of her and I was like, oh, and we're watching Stranger Things right now. So
perfect.
This ties it all together.
Yes.
It made me think of her because I was like, thank you, because there would have been a time where women wouldn't have really had the confidence to say what she said and do what she did,
And one of the I saw that because I don't remember who posted this, but it was it was a compilation of women doing that, like something similar, like her, and then it was like Lady Gaga speaking up and like just like whoever the male interviewer was who like said something and then the woman, the female, whoever it was, famous person would like bite back and say something that was like in confidence, saying something back, talking back or whatever, which I thought was cool. And she was a part of that, so that's why.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And then I think I saw you posted something. I don't know if it was today. I briefly saw it. I'm gonna look because it was a video and then it was something about like Christmas, but like then the patriarchy and then do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure with Christmas.
And now I'm just wanting I just like need to look.
A lot of patriarchy things.
Reasons women lift that have nothing to do with how we look.
Yes.
1, we live on true crime. Oh, we live on true crime podcast. We know what's up. 2, the patriarchy isn't going to smash itself. 3, redirecting perimenopausal rage. A gym membership is cheaper than making bail. So I didn't like that. But anyways, yeah. So I was like.
Yeah, that's so I did one. I made a post. I forget when I posted it it was a few days ago. I don't know, maybe it was Tuesday-ish, Wednesday, I don't know. But it was just talking about discipline and how society kind of views discipline a little bit differently for men than it does for women. And dude, this thing went off. This thing went off. Yes. And I did not I literally made that post in like 5 minutes while I was waiting to pick up my son. And my husband got out of the car real quick to run into this hotel next door to use the bathroom. And I just really quickly recorded it. It was like the dumbest thing.
That's how it works.
And it basically, comments. It has 610 likes. It's been shared 149 times, saved 84. This never happens to my posts ever. It's insane. And so like so if for y'all listening, if you didn't see it, basically I just said how for men, when we talk about discipline, it usually comes in the form of more. They need to, have more muscles, more food, more, whatever. But for women, discipline always tends to look less. You need to eat less food to be considered disciplined. You need to take less time to yourself so that you can give to other people. You need to, all of that. And so that was all it was. It was, and I just ended it with, that's interesting, isn't it? Like it wasn't any kind of a confrontational whatever, but the thing blew up and the men in the comments cannot deal with this. And I said, the fact that some of y'all are taking this as a personal attack says a lot more about you than it does about me, because this was just a basic observation.
True.
And then there was one guy in there telling me that that something about how I'm giving into the propaganda. I said, no, this is actually women's lived experiences. So
That's
the fact
propaganda.
that some random white dude shows up on my account and calls my lived experience propaganda, like the irony there is not lost on me. Sir. So
Yeah.
take a seat. Somebody last night just said, I wish you would talk less. And I went to his account and it was exactly what you think. It was like this account full of like pictures of his like computer setup with all these like I don't know. It was very much like giving like mom's basement type of vibes. And I'm like, and there's some other guy. There was just a whole bunch. Yeah, we had a good time over the last few days with the comments that were
Oh
being left on
man.
that post. So yeah, anytime I post anything that has to do with patriarchy or patriarchy adjacent, it tends to. So I've just decided I'm going to start leaning into it because why
Oh yeah,
not?
you
I'm
should.
getting tons of followers from it and whatever. So I'm going to try to not make it like everything, but it'll definitely be multiple times a
Lean
week
into it for
because
sure.
why
That's like
wouldn't
you
I?
found something
Yep.
that either people are going to agree with, and because it's not a topic, it's something that people don't really talk about,
Mhm.
and it's going against a lot of people's beliefs, and it makes some people upset. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that for myself. That's like
Yeah.
something I'm working on.
Yeah, the women in the comments were very like, that's true. And then talking about like some of their own experience and this is why this happens and that happens. The men in the comments, the opposite. The men were telling me I'm crazy, that I'm a feminist. I was called a femcel at one point. I'm like, like, do you understand what that mean? Okay, never mind, sir. Whatever. Um, and yeah, like there was all kinds of
You
all
could
kinds of
do like how you could do like how you did on TikTok where you're taking the comment and then you talk about that.
Yeah, I screenshot some of them. So I thought about maybe doing that. Yeah, this one just says wish you would talk less. Like,
I
oh,
wish you would
okay.
get off my page.
His name is Norm. Like, okay, Norm. Gotcha.
Hold on.
Uh yeah.
I just spilled coffee all over my computer. Fuck
Oh
me. Okay,
no! Get it,
BRB.
clean it.
Okay, well, it could be worse. Okay. Mostly sad that now I have less coffee to drink.
Damn it.
I still have a little bit. It's fine.
Uh,
Okay. Anyways,
okay.
what were you saying?
Anyways, well, we were just discussing that post and how people
Oh,
react different types of people react different types of ways to things.
yes.
Um, but yeah, I'll definitely like I've always kind of very much posted things that were maybe
We are
leaned a little
leaning
bit
into
feminist,
that. Yes.
and honestly, just being anti-diet culture by nature, most of what we know as diet culture stems from patriarchal views of society and whatever, and that's kind of where it all comes from. So it all just sort of
Gotta dive into that
ties
still
in. Yeah, we need to do that
in
one
an
of these
episode.
days. Yeah, but it's all linked together. Like the reason we have the crazy expectations as a society we do, much of it stems from patriarchal views of what a woman should look like and be like and do and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So
Yeah.
just by nature of just being not into the whole diet culture thing kind of makes you some version at least of a feminist anyway. And from a content perspective, it kind of leans into that anyhow. But it was my marketing coach. I think actually in the last episode I was talking about how I was in that training for 2 days
Yeah.
and whatever. So that's kind of where a lot of this came from, where they were encouraging. So there was this activity we had to do to kind of identify different things and whatnot. And then, and from that activity, create posts around that. And so that's where that one came from, was from that activity. And that was the whole point of it, was to try and identify these things that that people are going to resonate with your messaging. And I was like, whoop, found it.
I love that.
We found it. So yeah, so I'll be leaning into it a little more. Like I said, I'm gonna try to not make it everything. I posted one today about using fractional plates on your dumbbells and on your barbell and whatever, just more of like an educational kind of thing, because I kind of needed a break, because I'd had a lot of things that were like that kind of in a row,
Yeah.
like I did the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day skit that you saw with the wigs
That
and
was
what,
good.
So it was just a lot in a row. I was like, I need a break. I just need to teach something. Here's how you can help yourself get some
Mhm.
PRs in the gym. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
try to mix it up for sure. But yeah, you'll be
I
seeing a
need
lot
to
more
work
of
on
that
that.
because it is clearly it hit a nerve.
Yeah.
We're
Love it.
rolling
Can't
that.
wait to see
So
more of it.
yeah,
All
but
right.
let's talk about this episode. We
Let's do it.
are talking about goal setting, and this kind of stemmed from the idea that we're heading into December where of course we're gonna, we have the holidays and whatever, and then we have New Year's, and with New Year's comes New Year's resolutions. And so we thought, let's kind of get ahead of it a little bit. People maybe are not really thinking about their resolutions right now, but we're going to talk about maybe why you should. And
Yep.
if you do resolutions, not everyone does them, and that's fine too. But if you do, or if you had considered it, that we're gonna kind of help you out and give you some ways to goal set so that you can be successful. And of course, this is not just for New Year's resolutions. This is for any goal, kind of like you just mentioned about my meet and my competition, and kind of how
Yeah.
it's like stacking the goals there for to make sure that I'm successful and whatever. So this can be for
Yeah.
any time of year. It just happens to be that we know a lot of people might be looking at the January fresh start for
Yeah, and
some
I
goals.
feel like even so, like, I will probably talk about this in a future episode when we talk about like New Year stuff, but I've always been kind of conflicted with like the whole New Year resolution thing because
Mhm.
I just, for some reason, I don't like the word resolution. It's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't resonate with me, I guess. But um, but I think this is like an important topic too because the reality is that the new year is a starting point for a lot of
Hmm.
people. Like as humans, I think we need that sometimes.
Yeah.
Not to say that, oh, we need to wait until the new year or we need to
Right.
wait until Monday. Like we don't want to feed into that. But the reality is that like that is a tipping point for people to just to start, to do something
Hmm.
different. It's like it's just it is what it is. And so not only do we want to talk about like how you can do it in a way that's gonna be realistic, but like why talking about it right now is important. And it's just to like get you thinking a little bit ahead, but then also these are things that you can start right now. Like you
Hmm.
don't have to wait. Maybe it's one or two things that you want to implement before the new year starts. And I think it's also important because right now you're going to get bombarded with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like all of the deals for like losing weight and lose X amount of pounds in X amount of days or whatever it
Hmm.
is. And so if we can help get ahead of that and get into your minds of like maybe
Yep.
systems and strategies that's going to help you when the time comes for you, whether it's now or January 1st or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that's why we're here.
Yeah, I know that my feed has already started with the weight loss messaging, and the diet culture stuff super ramps up this time of year because they're anticipating people who might have resolutions that might be looking for a quote unquote solution to their issue. Oftentimes, we know that a lot of people's resolutions just happen to fall around weight loss. That just is what it is. And so, a lot of these companies are going to start trying to capitalize on that by trying to offer you this amazing deal and why you need their product and whatever. And we are here to tell you that you don't. I don't know what the product is, but you don't need it. Uh,
I don't know what it is, but you
most
don't need it.
likely it's a scam. And they just want to take your money, and that is diet culture through and through. And
Profiting off those insecurities.
yes, exactly. So we want to talk about why do goals oftentimes not work out? Why do people not stick with their goals? And then what you can do so that you do stick with your goals. And darn, there was something else I wanted to add to that you said that reminded me. Oh, when you talk about like you don't like resolutions, so when I very first, I kind of have two health journeys where I had one from a while ago where I only did a calorie deficit. I did no exercise or anything. And then I have my most recent one that was like, I don't know, 2017 or something, I think is but that's when I started lifting and it actually stuck. So, but my very first one where I did lose quite a bit of weight just with nutrition alone, I was a New Year's resolutioner. That was a New Year's resolution journey.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I wanna hear more about that.
I did, like, I stuck with it, it was okay, but then but like I said, I didn't exercise, I didn't do it was only nutrition. That was the one where, like, my fitness pal told me to eat, like, 1,200 calories, and I was getting
The
headaches, and
Doritos story happened?
yeah. No, that was the more recent one. That was when
Oh,
I was
oh,
actually
oh, oh,
tracking
okay, okay.
macros. So back the
Oh,
first
right.
time, it was just calories, like, I didn't know anything about protein, I didn't know anything about
Mm,
any of that.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah,
and so that was my New Year's resolution one,
gotcha.
I pretty much was okay with it, but, I didn't you can't stay in a calorie deficit forever, and I didn't really know what I was doing to come out of the calorie deficit, and so over time, I just ended up gaining all the weight back, and that's when I had to do it again, but then I did it the right way the second time, so here we are, but the first one, yeah, was a New Year's resolution that we take family pictures every year for our Christmas cards, and I had a friend that took our pictures, and I looked at those pictures, and they came back, and I couldn't believe what I saw on myself. Like, I looking at myself every day in the mirror, I didn't realize how much weight I had gained, and I had had ankle surgery several months prior to that, that I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything, I was just on the couch. And so I'd gained quite a bit of weight, and then I we took those pictures by December, and I saw them, and I was like, "Who is that girl?" And so that was why I was like, "Okay, New Year's, like, fresh start, New Year's, like, we're gonna, handle this and get back to healthy again."
Mhm.
So while I don't love New Year's resolutions necessarily, I get it. Like, I did it. Like,
Yeah,
that was me. Um,
yeah,
and so I totally understand that feeling of that fresh start that a new calendar year brings. Also, we're past all the holidays that always feel, especially if you have, family things that you're dealing with and whatever, it always feels so hectic and so stressful. And it just feels like it would be really nice to just start fresh and focus on myself
yeah.
and whatever come January. But the research tells us that most people within about 2 weeks fall off of their resolutions. So that's what we're hoping to avoid with today's episode.
Don't let that be you.
Don't let that be you. So one of the things I had two things in my notes of reasons why goals tend to fail for most people. And one of them is looking at what the goal is and your why behind the goal. Is this a goal that you truly want to have? Or is this a goal that maybe you're feeling pressured or guilted to have, maybe based on messaging from society or those ads that you're getting in your Black Friday inboxes right now, or, that kind of thing. And then also so your why, and when you look at your why behind it, is it rooted in hate for yourself for the way you look, or is it rooted in I love myself enough to do this for myself? I think is another kind of important thing. You don't always have to like yourself, but you kind of should mostly love yourself. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah, and I think everyone like, what I've learned is everyone is so different in that, like, what comes to mind, this is, like, just being devil's advocate, like,
Hmm.
someone being like, "Well, I do hate myself enough, and I am gonna do something about it, so I'm gonna go work out." What would you say to that person?
I would say that that is the wrong reason to go work out.
Okay, yes, I agree, it is the wrong reason. I think it like, what okay, so maybe if it, like, propels you to make a change, it's good, but that will only take you so far. That's,
Yeah,
like, my what I
I
wanna get
feel
to
like
with that.
that's kind of the equivalent to what we talked about in the last episode, how we shouldn't exercise as a form of punishment. And that sounds like
Yeah,
punishment to me.
yeah.
Um,
But if you're in that mindset and you don't know, then you don't know.
sure.
Like, when
Yeah.
I was, doing that, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that I was doing it as a form of punishment and the detriment of that until, like, years later after that.
Yeah, and I think that it's very nuanced too, because I think that it's perfectly valid to maybe hate is a strong word, but not like the situation that you're in. Maybe you hate the, kind of like I said, when I looked at those pictures, I went, "Whoa, who is she?" Like, this isn't where I want to be. So it's
Yeah,
like you might not like what you've maybe, like I said, the lifestyle you've built for yourself. You might not like, whatever the situation. For me, it was that surgery that put me on my butt for several months, and I ended up gaining a lot. Like, you don't have to love the situation that you're in, or maybe you can hate it, maybe you don't like it, but you as a human and as a person, um, you care about yourself and you value yourself, I guess, is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
Enough to be like,
To
okay,
make a
let's
change.
make this better. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, like I said, like, it'll only take you so far to, like, not if you dislike yourself and that's what you're telling yourself,
Hmm.
but finding that internal, like, reason,
Yeah.
maybe, like, even flipping it. So if you say to yourself, like, "I hate my body, that's why I'm working out," like, flip it and change it to, like, what what would you be able to do more of? Like,
Hmm.
what do you want to like about your body? And, like, doing things. So whether it's, like, going for a walk or maybe it's, like, hiking, like, I always use those analogies 'cause I love it, but it's, like, finding those reasons because
Yes.
those are going to take you like, they've done studies on this, it's going to take you further and you're gonna actually stick to it or get back on track when necessary, when you fall off,
Yeah.
if you have those reasons versus when it's just all about looks or
Hmm.
it's, like, the negative aspect of it. Because then you're gonna always if you keep searching for the negative, you're gonna keep getting the negative. So it
Yeah.
bleeds into, like, perspective in life and attitude and, like, so many other areas of life.
Yeah.
It's not just that one thing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, why do you have whatever the goal might be? Why do you have it? Where is it coming from? And really, I think, what is it? What is the phrase that you always say? Like, not break it down, but really, like, get into the dig deep, get curious. That's what you always say. Get
Get curious,
curious.
yes.
Get
I was, like, trying to
curious.
think about it. Break it down, what?
I know, I got that stuck in my head too. And so, like, get curious. So when you come up with your why, and here's why I have this goal, like, go further. Get more curious about it.
Think about it like an onion, peel back the onions, and before we
Yeah.
go any further, worksheet, we're gonna turn this into a
Oh,
worksheet.
yes, thank
So,
you.
yeah, like with each we're gonna actually have these questions, so you can go to this link, you can download it whenever you do like, if you do a end of year audit or end of year reflection or new year trying to set goals, you write things down, print this off and start to ask your and look at these questions and write it down to kinda help you, and then you can stick it somewhere where you're gonna see it every day.
Yep.
But what I was saying with this first one is peel back the onions, like, keep asking why. Okay, if I wanna lose weight, why? And then again, ask why. Well, I wanna have more energy. Okay, why do you wanna have more energy? I wanna be
Mhm.
able to keep up with my kids. Okay, well, why do you wanna be able to keep up with your kids? Well, I wanna be able to see them graduate and walk down the aisle with their partner. Okay, well, why do you wanna do that? Like, keep it
Mhm.
and the further you go, the harder it is, it's gonna be to answer that. But keep
Yeah.
asking why. Keep doing it over and over, like
Yep.
minimum 10 times.
Yep. Those whys are what's gonna keep you going. When you start to get frustrated, when you start to want to give up, when whatever happens, you're going to lean back on okay, but if I give up, if I don't follow through, if I don't stay consistent, then I may not get to see my kids graduate or walk down the aisle with their partner or go play with them at the park, whatever it is. So it's those are really what's going to keep you
Yeah, and
focused and
another
keep you going.
question that you can ask is, after that maybe we can include is, why is that important to you? Why are these things important to you? And then you can
Hmm.
even flip it and be like, why is it important that you don't stay where you're at right now?
Yeah,
Why is that important to you?
that's a great
Um,
question.
mhm. I will ask people that, and they at first don't know what to say, and then they kinda get emotional, which is like
Yeah.
it's good to get emotional though, because yeah, because then you're really getting deep with yourself, and again, that's how it's gonna be more sustainable for you. And, the other thing I was gonna say, what was it? Well, you do that, and you keep referring back to these questions and back to this internal motivation until it gets to a point where it is now your standard. It is now just your way of
Yes.
life. It's
It's
like
just what
brushing
you
your
do.
teeth. Yeah,
Mhm.
and even though sometimes you might like for me, I think about it like sometimes I don't want to work out, I don't feel like working out, but it's just what I do. I just do it. And sometimes I say no and I don't. But for the most part, it's just a part of my life and I just do it. It comes a lot more natural to me. And so it's going to take you a while to get to that point probably, but you'll get there. But you can use these things to help you get to that point over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep. Love it. Love it. Okay, and then the second thing I had for why many goals fail is that these goals were set up for perfection rather than just reality. So, for example, if it's a goal that is only going to be able to be achieved on the most perfect day of your life, then that's not a good goal. Because realistically, rarely do we actually have perfect days. So our goals should be fit for our lifestyle. And we're going to get more into this later. So I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but your goals should be things that you can do with your current lifestyle. You don't need a complete upheaval of your life to do it. And they are things that you can that can be flexible enough so that if they don't happen 100%, or maybe they don't happen at all on any given day, it doesn't just completely ruin your perception and your like just the way you look at it all and say, oh well, forget it, I just can't do this, and then we just give up. So sometimes I think we just go too far. Like we our goals are, it's great to have ambitious goals, but we want to make sure we're breaking it down into realistic chunks,
Yeah.
I guess, that can be done.
Yeah. And also, like, the flexibility aspect, like, you have to be flexible with your goals, just like you're flexible with your life and with when
Mhm.
shit happens, when kids get sick, when you get sick, when you have an injury, when it's snowing and it's icy and you can't go anywhere, right? Like, you have to be
Yeah.
flexible and willing to adjust to that. And I also want to kind of relate this back to, because when we talked about this before we started recording, it reminded me of something that I'm going through, because I have this mindset almost with, like, I'm setting up my new space, my new suites for training new clients, and I'm getting equipment. And I haven't ordered all of my stuff. It's like in the Amazon cart, and it's like I'm waiting for, I don't want to say for it to be perfect, but like maybe, because I'm worried that I'm not going to get the right equipment, or I'm wanting other people's opinions on it to make sure I get the right one. I don't want to regret it. Like I'm waiting before, and really it is for until it's perfect.
Yeah.
But that's only gonna hold me back. And then
Yeah.
same thing with your goals, it's only gonna hold you back if you're waiting for that perfect moment, if you're wanting the all in or not at all. And that's such a hard mindset to get out of, and we're just gonna, like, always keep talking about it, I think.
Yeah.
But that all or nothing is really going to hold you back, and you're only going to be spinning your wheels. And then come next year, you're going to be in that same spot, waiting until XYZ, waiting until you're less busy, waiting
Mhm.
until you feel like, and even for
Yeah.
me, like I'm trying to plan my year for like business, and I'm waiting until I have a set amount of time in my day. I can like have a coffee. I'm like have no distractions, but like I just got to do it. The reality is
Yeah.
that that's never going to
You
come.
just need to do it. Yep, exactly,
Yes.
100%. I'm gonna very much change the subject. When my husband just pulled in my driveway, and my chihuahua is probably about to lose her shit. So if y'all hear my dog, she's right next to me at the moment, so it might be very loud for a second,
Love it. That's
but
right.
yeah,
I'm
so
here
that's
for
the
that.
life. Life
Yep.
happens. That's what it goes. So,
Exactly.
okay, so
And also,
now,
okay, one more
oh
thing.
yeah,
One
yeah,
more thing.
yeah.
One more thing. Sorry. I want to challenge, if you know that you have the all or nothing mindset, I want to challenge you to do something. And it's, even it doesn't have to be with health and fitness and your goals. It can be like with anything, maybe something a little bit smaller than a specific goal. But think of all the things that you wait for the perfect moment in, or you wait because of XYZ. And I want you to choose something and do it. Like just do it. Again, maybe like the smallest of things. Like if you're waiting to clean your room until something, maybe you just go clean up a little bit. I don't know. But just get uncomfortable with that, because it's going to be uncomfy, but you're retraining your
Mhm,
brain, you're retraining your brain. It's like a skill, right? So
mhm.
if you can find something that's kind of low barrier, like isn't too daunting of a task, and just, or even if it is the goal, like just do a little bit to try and
Yeah.
get yourself uncomfortable. And does that make sense what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just do it. Just do it. Just go. Do it.
Just do it.
Uh,
Do it.
okay, so setting realistic, actually doable goals. So what I had for on my notes for step 1 is choosing a goal that is, um, how do I describe it? A goal that is, I guess, quantifiable is good, but what I'm getting at, I'm just gonna say what I'm getting at instead of beating around the bush with it.
Okay. Just say
Rather
what you're
than
thinking.
having I was trying to, like, delicately say this, but I'm just gonna say it. So rather than having, like, a scale-based goal, I wanna weigh X number of pounds by X number of date or whatever. Having a goal that's maybe more based around actions that you can take, because while
Oh, I like that.
while you can control on some level weight loss, you can be doing all of the right things for weight loss and the scale doesn't really ever move. And that can be because maybe you're gaining muscle. Maybe it's just that, your body recomposition, different things could be happening. So you can't always necessarily control the exact amount of weight you might lose by a certain date. But what you can control are your actions around it. So if your goal does happen to be fat loss, rather than having a specific scale number goal, you have a goal around your actions. Maybe you're going to hit X number of steps every day or most days of the week or whatever. You're going to, maybe you have strength based goals, like you want to hit a certain number on your squat or a deadlift, or you want to be able to get up to whatever set of dumbbells or, whatever. Maybe it's goals around like your protein intake. You're going to make sure you get a palm size amount of protein at every meal, things like that. So your actions that you're taking, all of those actions, when those are your goals and you're checking them off, the byproduct of that very well could possibly be the fat loss that you ultimately are hoping for. But these are things you can truly control. Whereas am I making sense with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. To be honest, I kind of zoned out for a second. Like I totally, I don't,
Do you
sorry,
have
can
any
you,
idea what I just said? No.
in my head when you were talking, I was like, okay, that is making sense, but I totally have no recollection of
Oh,
what you
shit.
just,
Okay. Well, for anyone else who's zoned out too. So what I'm gonna try to sum it
sorry.
up. So that's okay. That's okay. So basically have your goals be based around your own actions that you can control, as opposed to something like a
Oh, yes.
scale-based number that you may or may not be able to control. Because if you can control your actions, then the byproduct of that may possibly end up being that the scale moves. But you have a lot less control over what that scale is going to say. Anybody who's ever hit a weight loss plateau or anything knows how frustrating it is when you cannot control what that scale says. But you absolutely can control getting your steps in. You can control your water. You can control your protein intake. You can control your workouts, that kind of thing. So making your goals be around things that you can do versus just some arbitrary number is what I would
Yeah.
suggest.
Yes, I love that. 'Cause I remember you said that in the very beginning too of this is like to have a goal around your actions and what you're doing versus the
Mhm.
scale number. I think it's something, it also, because if you're someone that you want the number to go down, you want to lose body fat, you want the number to go down, it's so easy to hyperfixate on that, especially when in, diet culture world and social media, like that's what is like getting served to
Mhm.
you all of the time.
Yes.
But the thing that is going to help you get to that point are the actions anyway.
Mhm.
And so if you can focus less on that or not at all, this is over here, the actions, the things that you're doing, it's going to be so much more fulfilling too, because it's
Yeah.
once you're doing that, like it's like, okay, yes, I did this, I did this, I did this.
Mhm.
And just focusing on that instead of just the number on the scale when, like you said, we can't always control that, but you can control the actions that you're taking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. One of the things that I tell people, and that I kind of when I describe who I work with best, like as far as clients go, I always tell people, I work with women that want to get stronger, yada, yada, yada. Everybody knows. And I said that I do help with fat loss goals, but that is rarely our number one goal. Our goal is always around building muscle, getting strong, forming healthy habits, and then I always call it a side effect. The fat loss might be a side effect of doing all of those things, but it's never something that I focus on directly with clients. And so I just feel like that's kind of a good way to describe it. If you can control all of these things, then those are all the steps you need to be taking for the fat loss to happen.
Yes.
So it's almost like, you look at, maybe you do have a big overarching goal. Maybe you do just super badly want to lose 20 pounds. Don't love it, but okay, great. But that's like the big overarching thing. But there's all these little pieces that are going to go into it, which are all of these habits that we're talking about. So when we're looking at doable doable goals and doable habits, I guess, like we want to look at all of those little micro pieces. What are all the small parts that are going to go into
Yes.
achieving this big overarching goal? Rather than always aiming for the big one, we should be aiming to hit all the small ones because that's what gets us to the big one, you know?
Yeah. Yes. There's something
So,
else I was gonna say about that, but I can't remember now what that was. But I mean, you hit it. Yeah, that's pretty much all. And I like that you made it like if you think about it visually, like I see macro, like the big thing at the top, and then all these like micro
yes.
things that's going to help get you to that point. Oh, and this will also tie into that our first question of or not question, but like thinking about what intrinsically is going to be your reason
Yeah.
why, because then once you know that, then you can look at your actions and be like, okay, what's going to help me feel this way versus what's the number that I'm trying to
Hmm.
reach for,
Right.
right? So you're going back to the reason why, that deeper reason, and be like, okay, now what are the actions I can take that's going to help me get to that
Hmm.
point, not necessarily the number on the scale.
Yeah. And something you just said too reminded me of our Biggest Loser episode, where, when you're only focused on that number, oftentimes people tend to do really unhealthy, extreme type things just simply to make that scale number move. So when that's the main
Yes.
focus, that's where we can lead into some dangerous territory as far as behaviors and habits. So again, keeping that focus on your actions and what you can control will prevent you from like going down that path.
Yes. And making sure
So
it's something that is realistic and attainable for you
yeah.
and not looking to outside sources of social media and all of that, right? Like
Yep.
stay in your lane, what your life is like.
Exactly. And that leads us right into exactly the next one. Talked about kind of like I didn't know what else to call it. I called it like a needs assessment, like looking at your own life and what do
Oh, I like
you
that.
need to make these goals work for you. So, look at your schedule. Are you someone who has to get up super early for work in the morning? Then a morning workout is probably not going to work for you. If do you have, do you have kids that you're having to cart around school or sports or whatever, what is your life like, and what are things that you need in order to help these habits work for your life? Maybe it's a meal prep service, or maybe it's I do have time on Sundays so I can make all of my proteins on Sundays to make sure that as life is crazy through the week, whatever it is that you might need, that's what you really need to stop and look at. What's your capacity too? Are you super
Yes.
burned out because you're always doing everything for everybody and now you have little left for yourself? Okay, so you don't have a lot of capacity. So maybe again, something like the meal prep service might be really good for you, or asking for help, from
Yeah.
family,
And
friends, whoever.
And this is something that you can always, like, come back to, like, the
Hmm.
question of, like I
Yeah.
love that you said needs assessment, like, what this is a question that I ask people too when I meet with them is, like, if you are, like, think about, like, your grocery list. If you're going to the grocery store, what all do you need? Same thing, like, what do you need in order to feel
Yeah.
XYZ or to reach your goals? Write all those things down, and then, okay, you don't have to do all of those things, but
Hmm.
it's like, what are a couple things that I have capacity for right now? I like that word capacity. Like,
Yes.
what do you have capacity for what is aligned with what you're going through right now? And it can change in a month, it can change in a couple months, like, but looking at that list can be helpful because then now you can maybe choose one that's going to actually inherently
Hmm.
knock down some other ones that you have on
Yeah.
there, or it's the lowest barrier, meaning it's the
Hmm.
lowest hanging fruit, right? To
Yeah.
to work towards. So I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, coming back to that talk about the all or nothing. When you look at, we all are going to have a very big list when we write down our needs. And so I think it's super important to know that not only is it okay, but it's better to look at that big list and only pick a couple of those things. Maybe it is just the low hanging fruit. Just pick a couple of things, knowing that I will eventually tick everything off of this list, but not feeling like you have to do it all right now, because that is exactly how people set themselves up to fail. Is they try to do way too much all at once, and life just doesn't work that way. We just can't do that. So just
Yeah.
knowing that you are going to get to all of those things, and maybe in time something in life might change and a couple of those things you don't need anymore. Or like you said, you
Yeah.
might pick one goal that inadvertently kind of ticks a couple of boxes off of your list. So it's keeping this paper and keeping it handy and reflect coming back to it over time, as life changes, as your goals change, as, things happen.
And I hope I hope, and I do see it being talked about more, maybe because we're like in the industry of it, but the conversation of like not having to do it all, because I would say most of the time people do feel like they need to do it all. They're like so excited. They want to do all of these things. But again, that's why a lot of people end up quitting after a couple weeks, is because they try and do it all. And then they're like, oh, fuck it. Like, I hate this. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. Like, it's just too much. And so we need to keep like preaching this, I think, to people of like, do just one or two things. If you think it's too little, golden. That's right where I want you. That's like
exactly where we want you to be. Meet yourself where you are right now, not where you want to be 3, 6, 12 months from now.
What's up, guys? We have decided to make this episode a 2-part series because we ended up recording a lot longer than we planned, and we really want to keep this topic top of mind as we close out the year and head into a new one. So today you'll hear part 1, and part 2 will drop in 2 weeks. See you then. Bye for now.